Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Karina. I'm from Madagascar and I've been living in Lanzhou for the past 7 years. I am currently finishing my master's degree here at Lanzhou University, and this series are my personal guide for future international students coming at Lanzhou University. But I think even if you're studying somewhere else in China, I think a lot of what I share here can still be helpful. So welcome. Before we get into today's video, I first want to wish everyone good health, obviously, and hopefully this is one of those videos you'll watch and never have to use. But at the same time, I think it's always good to be informed because of you never know when you might need the information. Fun fact, I still remember before I came to China, one of the questions I kept asking was, what happens if I get sick? Where do I even go to get help? And my countrymates back then laughed at me every time I brought up that question, because out of everything I could have been worried about, that was the question I kept asking. And back then, I used to get sick quite often. Thankfully, that's changed over the past few years, but it was still something that was always in the back of my mind before moving here in China, Lanzhou. So I thought this would be a useful topic to include in this guide. In this video, I just want to share what I've learned over the years here in Lanzhou, where international students usually go when they need medical care, what the process generally looks like, what you should expect in terms of expenses, and how the student health insurance work as well. This isn't a medical advice by any means. It's simply a guide to help you understand the system a little better, so that if you ever find yourself needing it, you already know what to expect. So, with that being said, let's get started. So the first question is probably, where do international students usually go when they are sick? From what I've seen over the years, it really depends on the situation and on what people are comfortable with. Everyone has their own way of doing things, so I just share what I personally do and what I've noticed from friends around me. So for me, if it's something familiar and I already know what medicine I'm looking for, I usually just go straight to pharmacy. That's normally the quickest option. If I'm not sure what I need, then the easiest place to go is the school clinic. It's right on campus, so it's very convenient, especially if you're living in the dorms. I think it's open until midnight every day, although you probably want to double check that when you get there. And at the clinic, you first have to pay about 10 yuan consultation fee using your student card. Then you go see the doctor, and if they prescribe any medicine, you simply buy it at the pharmacy counter in the same clinic, again using the student card. The whole process is usually pretty straightforward. Depending on your situation, they can also give injections or IV drips, and that's part of the treatment they can recommend. For me, the school clinic is usually the first place to go before thinking about hospital. And the hospital I personally go to is the first hospital of Lanzhou University. It's only a few hundred meters from main campus, so it's very easy to get to. And the last time I went there was in the fall of 2024. I had a throat infection, and at first I went to the school clinic. They gave me medicine, but after about 2 days, I felt even worse. I had a high fever, I couldn't swallow properly, and I could barely eat anything. So I decided to go to the hospital instead. I ended up receiving treatment there for about 5 days. I'll talk a little bit more about how much high spend later on in the video, because I think that's something most people are very curious about. As for there's another hospital that is that quite a few international students also use, is Gansu Provincial People's Hospital. It's right across the first hospital of Lanzhou University. I haven't personally been treated there, but my boyfriend went there once, so it's also another hospital that's quite close to campus. So, what happens once you get to the hospital? The first thing I'd recommend is bringing some form of identification with you, whether that's your passport or your student card, both works. Just make sure you have something with your name and personal information on it. When you walk into the hospital, you're first to go to the registration counter. They'll ask you a few questions about why you're there, and then direct you to the department that matches your symptoms. In other words, they assign you to the doctor or specialist you need to see. Once that's done, they'll tell you which floor to go to, and all you have to do is wait for your turn. Usually, patients are called by both their name and their queue numbers. We just have to wait to be called. Now, my last hospital visit was a little different because I went straight to the emergency department. At that point, I was having trouble breathing, had a very high fever, and could barely swallow anything, as I said before, because my throat was really highly, I had a very bad infection. Since it was an emergency, everything moved pretty quickly. I think I saw a doctor in less than 30 minutes. They examined me, sent me for a few tests, and while those results were coming back, they had already started treating me. I remember getting an emergency injection and being put on oxygen while waiting for the test results. And once the doctor had the full picture, they started me on IV treatment. After that, I was moved to the treatment area where I just waited for the IV to finish. And before I left, the nurses explained how many more days I needed to come back to continue the treatment. In my case, I went back every day for about 5 days. So unless your condition is very serious, you usually don't stay overnight at the hospital. Most of the time, you receive your treatment, go home, and then come back on the days the doctor scheduled for you. And one last thing I'd mention is the language. Most doctors and nurses don't speak much English, so if you don't speak Chinese yet, I would suggest going with a friend who does, if that's possible. It just makes the whole process a lot less stressful, especially if you need to explain your symptoms or understand the treatment plan. Now, let's talk about the part that most people are probably wondering about. How much does it usually cost? Of course, there is no fixed answer because it really depends on where you're going and what treatment you need. So I'll just share what I've personally paid over the years to give you kind of like a rough idea of the expenses here. First, if I am going to a pharmacy, whether it's for a cold, a fever, or simply pain medication, I don't think I've ever spent more than about 100 yuan. And at the school clinic, the consultation itself, as I already said, costs 10 yuan, which you pay using a student card. After that, the costs depend on what the doctor prescribes for you. For me personally, the medication has never been more than about 100 as well. And on the occasions where I needed injection or IV treatment, I remember paying somewhere around 200 yuan. As for the hospital, I believe the consultation fee is also 10 yuan. I don't really quite remember, but I think it was 10 yuan. The rest really depends on the tests, medication, and treatment you receive. For example, when I had that throat infection we've talked about earlier back in 2024, I was going to the hospital every day for about 5 days. Between the consultation, the tests, medication, and IV treatment, I spend roughly 200 to 250 yuan daily and around 1,200 yuan in total. That gives you the idea of what a more serious situation can cause, although every case is very different. Now, the good news is that this doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have to pay all of that yourself, because this is where your international students' healthcare insurance comes in. So, let's talk about what it covers and how it works. When you register at the beginning of the school year, the university will give you the website where you need to create your insurance account and manage your claims later on. The insurance is valid for 1 year, which covers 2 semesters. If you're a self-funded student, you pay the full amount yourself. If you're on a scholarship, you'll first pay the full 1,000 yuan, 500 yuan per semester during registration, and then the university usually refunds 800 yuan later on. So in the end, you've paid 200 yuan for the year's insurance. One thing that's important to know is that the insurance doesn't cover everything. It generally doesn't reimburse things like routine health checkups, cosmetic or aesthetic procedures, like for example teeth whitening, etc. All of those they don't cover, and any treatment where the total spent amount is less than 650 is as well unrefundable. So coverage can change from year to year, so it's always worth checking the latest policy on this. Another important point is that the insurance only works at designated public hospitals. It won't reimburse treatments from private hospitals, and the insurance platform even provides a list of hospitals that are covered in each city. Now let me explain how the claim process worked for me. The first thing to know is that you usually pay the hospital bill yourself first and then apply for the reimbursement afterward through the insurance website. When I submitted my first claim, there was a 650 yuan deduction. That means the first 650 yuan wasn't reimbursed. After that, the insurance refunded 85% of the remaining amount. For example, when I spent around 1,200 yuan on my throat infection treatment, the calculation looked something like this. So the total medication expenses was 1,200 yuan, deductible 650 yuan. Remaining amount was 550 yuan, and the insurance reimbursed 85% of that, which came around 468 yuan. So even though it didn't cover everything, it still helped reduce the overall costs. The application itself is probably the most time consuming part. You have to upload every single document one by one. And when I say everything, I really mean everything. Your receipts, invoice, prescriptions, tests, report, and any other supporting documents they ask you. One thing I learned the hard way is to make sure the name on all of your hospital documents matches the name on your passport exactly. If there are differences in spelling or formatting, it can make the reimbursement process much more complicated, unfortunately. I'll be honest, the part I found the most frustrating was uploading all the paperwork. I remember having more than 40 pages of documents from just one treatment, and I had to upload them one at a time. It really took forever. I can't even imagine how much paperwork someone would have after a much longer stay at the hospital. But yeah, it was definitely the most hard thing about the whole process. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to share in this video. Hopefully it's one of those videos that you never really have to come back to. But if you ever do find yourself needing medical care while you're studying in Lanzhou, at least you'll already have an idea of what to expect and how the whole process generally works. As always keep in mind that everything I shared today is based on my own experience over the past few years that I've lived here. Things like hospital fees, insurance policies, and reimbursement rules can change over time. So it's always a good idea to double check the latest information with your university or your insurance provider. If this video answered some of your questions, then I am really glad it helped. And if there are still topics about students' life in Lanzhou that you'd like me to cover before this guide comes to an end, feel free to leave them in the comment. If I can help, I'd be more than happy to make a video about them. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Lanzhou Student Guide. Love you all. Bye.